meet
No.
him before? No. Not really. So maybe we can start with you, Rocky. Maybe you can introduce yourself and all your experience that you have in the Americas region, because you have helped with a lot of countries, even in Europe, because you have helped also in Georgia. But maybe you want to start, and then we go each one, and then I have a list of subjects that I want to touch with you.
Okay, well, my name is Rocky Herron. I am an epic fencer in San Diego, California for about 35 years now. And my involvement with wheelchair fencing began in 2011 when we had a large number of U.S. Marines coming back from the war in Afghanistan with serious injuries. And I volunteered to take wheelchair fencing into our local naval hospital. And my goal was to try to create a competitive sport program, but it ended up being more of a therapeutic rehabilitation program. So I spent 3 years every week going down and working with these young soldiers who sometimes were only 6 or 8 weeks after losing their legs to landmines in Afghanistan. So I developed the program there, and then one of my star students had to return back to his country of Georgia. So I contacted IWAS and some folks in Georgia, and we helped get fencing started in Georgia. And then 5 years ago, I saw the need for wheelchair fencing in Colombia in South America, and I was able to get funding from the U.S. Embassy to help establish a wheelchair fencing program in Colombia. And now I'm trying to help in Mexico. So I'm a passionate fencer, and I absolutely believe in wheelchair fencing, and I'm committed to helping develop wheelchair fencing.
Great. Also, just as an extra note, we also have your visit in Costa Rica. And maybe you were not as much directly involved, but I hope to have you soon again back there. But some of your ideas, we put it into action with our Parasport Federation. So we have also wheelchair fencing, not only wheelchair fencing, other parasports also, but a program going in our National Rehabilitation Center with patients that maybe have just got their injury. And it has been very nice. It has been a very good way to get into the community and start letting everybody know that the parasport exists and that possibility exists. So also, not only Colombia, Mexico, but also Costa Rica, you have been helping.
Well, thank you for saying that. I makes me happy.
It's great. Peter, you in Austria, also because you have a lot of experience with IWAS anyway, from many years.
I don't know what I like to say, if it's an advantage or not, but okay. So I don't know. I can introduce myself. I'm Peter. I'm in fencing since 1968, so I'm a quite old bastard in that business. I'm involved in wheelchair fencing since 2008, something like around. Was happy to be introduced with Udo Ziegler because I was meeting him in some competition. So, and I was then introduced, and then I was really fascinated of the sport, and so I did it. And then I got this possibility being the referee, and was in the referee commission. And now I'm head of this development commission, which I try to catch around. Yeah, and I was doing a lot of things with Croatia and Slovenia, and was introducing to Egypt some project, also to Finland and Sweden. So I was connecting that with my business as a FRE referee. Well, it works somewhere. It works a little bit, but every time I figured out. People are waiting for the fencers, so it's not possible for them just to make some advertisement and wait for the fencers. They need to go, as we are doing now in Austria, they need to go to the streets and catch them, because in Europe, thank God, we do not have any war, so we do not have these injured persons. So therefore, it's for us necessary to go to the rehabilitation centers and seriously, in fact, to catch the people on the street. Otherwise, we do not get any members. And this is happening somehow in Slovenia. In Croatia is a little bit hard. Even the Croatians have now a lot of people which are disabled because of the situation in Europe, in that area. For the Serbs and the Croatians, they have some troubles. I'm not telling you news. Yeah, this is it, and now I'm doing in Austria a lot, because I thought for myself we were doing a lot around Europe, also Miran and me in South America. Now we thought we need to focus more on our region here, so therefore I'm doing here. Okay, well, open for questions.
And now you have, well, you are in your club and you have some fencers now, right, practicing?
Yeah, we have 5 fencers, and they're quite busy, and we are practicing 3 times a week, 1 time 4 hours and 2 times 2 hours. We did also, except this Corona time, in the whole summer holidays, we just had now 1 week off. Well, and now we are starting the new seasons, and I'm happy that there are, let's say, 2 of them quite talented. Okay, they have a good coach. This is a different story. So, well, and they are quite talented, and so therefore.
Perfect. Tuko, all yours.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to see you guys. I've been involved with fencing for over 30 years. I'm also an épée fencer, and my story with the IWAS and the Paralympics started in Rio 2016, thanks to Mirani and Alberto, that was in charge
She's
to
the
be
guilty. I knew it.
the sports information coordinator. And then I came back to Australia. For those who doesn't know, I'm originally from Brazil, but I've been living in Australia for 16 years. I'm a head coach here of my state, one of the national assistant coaches as well. So when I came back to Australia after the Paralympics, I had this vision in my mind: we need to develop the wheelchair fencing here, because there was nothing. And then, like Peter says, Peter gave a lot of support as well when he got his role for like a regional development coordinator. He put me as Oceania coordinator role to help develop here. And then I start chase funds, chase people on the streets, like Peter says, go to fairs, go to all those disability groups that we have here in Australia. And then we start collecting people, give always volunteer work, of course. Start doing free lessons for kids with cerebral palsy. Then we managed to get other kids more involved. And then finally, we get one good kid. We managed to get a grant from the Paralympics Australia to receive a frame in my former club. And then we developed this wheelchair fencing program at the club, where the kids fence with able-bodied fencers. It's all mixed up. We don't discriminate. We try to engage them as much as possible. And over 9-10 months, I'm also the coach. I'm also the classifier in here. So I'm the jack of all trades in here. We create this little fencer.
That's usually how it happens there.
Yeah. And then we managed to fundraise for him to go to Netherlands. And that was the first Australian athlete registered to IWAS and competing in a World Cup. So that was pretty amazing. And then the coronavirus hit everyone. And then the fencing stopped for a while in here. There was a bit of concern about people with disability. They have a low immune system, so they kind of avoid being at training when the club reopened. So now I move away from this club. The wheelchair frame will continue there. The Paralympics Australia, they're going to give me another frame for my new club. So we're going to have 2 clubs in Perth with 2 wheelchair programs now. My former club and then my new club coming up. And that's it. We're just waiting for this crisis to cool down and get the kids back into training. Like Peter said, go to the street, go everywhere and try to chase people I work in a hospital as well as a physiologist. Every time I see someone in a wheelchair or some disability, I gave my car, invite the guys to come to the club. And that's how we getting people into. There's not much support in general, but the Paralympics Australia has been pretty amazing. They've been supporting also as a classifier. They will support me to go to any state to classify other participants and to help to develop other classifiers in every state. So they will fund everything, my travels, everything. So it's pretty good.
Yeah.
And I'm a national classifier. I'm still studying to do the international classification. We're supposed to be done in Thailand at the beginning of the year. And then the whole thing collapsed. I was going to Thailand to do my final exam, let's say. And then now we're in this limbo here. We don't know what's going to happen, when going to be the next competition. Pisa just been canceled, so fingers crossed for 2021, everything get back to normal.
Let's hope, yeah. Well, I'm helping here. I'm supposed to be more like a moderator, but anyway, for the people who are going to see this later, I will introduce myself also. I know all of you from different moments, but well, also I'm a fencer, so I think, except you, Peter, you are a saber fencer, right?
Yeah.
But
Okay, well, I'm fencing, so.
I've been involved in fencing and in Costa Rica, and especially in tournaments, organizing tournaments for many years. And I experienced wheelchair fencing before, training in Italy. But my involvement into wheelchair fencing was thanks to Rio. As Tuko said, I was working there as technical operation manager of the Olympics and the Paralympics. And well, there I managed to meet Tuko, I managed to meet Peter and Udo, and start getting into this world and trying to develop wheelchair fencing in Costa Rica. Has been a slow process, or slower than I would like to, but honestly, I think we have made a lot of advancement. We produce our own frame. We have more fencers now. Of course, the virus situation is having everything a little bit paralyzed right now, but I think Costa Rica has been going pretty well. Also, we were lucky to have, as again from Rocky, from Peter, from IWAS, a lot of help, especially in experience. Every time that we have questions and things, we were able to ask, and everything is going pretty well there. So, well, Tuko was talking a little bit about the experience there in Australia. I think there is an interesting situation here because we are talking about three very different areas in the world. Even in Europe, not the whole Europe is the same exactly in support of sport and everything.
Yeah.
But he was talking to a little bit about the difficulties that he has found. So maybe, I don't know, Rocky, your experience with Colombia and Mexico, especially, that's the one that I'm more interested. What do you think are the biggest challenge there for those countries to be able to develop wheelchair fencing, even if they are doing right now quite a good job? Colombia has a lot of fencers right now, and they're competing, and Mexico are growing quite fast.
Yeah, you cut out for a moment there.
Yeah. Oh, what do you think are the challenges that they are facing?
Well, as I listened to Peter and Tuko and to you talk about all of our shared experiences, everyone involved has to have a very strong passion to create this. So I think the first for any of these programs is to identify an individual or a group of individuals who are committed to carrying it out, and to recruiting the athletes, and to finding funding or creating the equipment. So I think that's the fundamental step that we all shared is it needs to be someone driving this project. Wheelchair fencing isn't going to happen just because someone wants to see it. It's something that has to be built, and built with patience and tolerance, and that's been the biggest challenge. And I got very lucky in Colombia, and I got very lucky in Mexico to find people who have that passion and who are carrying the program forward.
Oh. And just as a general question, because I felt, in my case, again, after the experience of the Paralympics and everything, I just went back to Costa Rica and said, let's work, let's do this, and I just I started finding people who were very interested with a good spirit to take forward this project. But in general, I feel that a lot of fencing coaches, or maybe people who are involved in the fencing that could start with this, they are afraid of doing it. I think a lot of people are like afraid of working with para-athletes, and I don't know why, any of you, why do you think is that? Is lack of knowledge? What could be done? From IWAS part, I think they are trying to put together a lot of, I'm trying to put together with Arno a nice project in Brazil, if it works, and coaches and coaching seminars, referee seminars, but what it is that people feel like a little bit afraid to work with the para-athletes.
Well, are you asking me?
Oh. Let's go with you if you want first. You were talking. Yeah, Rocky, what do you think?
Yeah, no, I think people are afraid to look stupid. Fencers think that there's a big technical difference between wheelchair fencing and able-bodied fencing, and of course there isn't. And Tuko mentioned that he mixes the activities, and I've done the same thing. Once I have one or two people who want to do wheelchair fencing, we do a sit-stand competition where everybody fences everybody, and all the able-bodied fencers have to get in the frame and participate in wheelchair. And it's a wonderful spirit-building activity, but it also educates all the fencers that wheelchair fencing is actually a very interesting sport, and it's not that big of a step to start practicing it.
Also, I work with mental health in here as well, and you can see there is this stigma about mental health and people with disability. And when I bring my exercise physiology students to do the practical part of the uni working with me, they saw, oh, this is normal. There's nothing challenge, there's nothing different. So they end up loving the mental health and work with people with disabilities. So I think if we push it to get rid of this stigma of people with disability is hard. Like you say, people may have afraid they don't have the knowledge, or they're gonna end up injuring someone more or something. But I'll tell you, they're pretty tough, and it's just a normal day training, and nothing changed. And we have a good opportunity here with this Rising Phoenix on Netflix.
Yeah.
Advertised for us. I never see something so amazing. I was crying like the whole move, remember everything.
Yeah.
So we have a good opportunity here to break this stigma.
I think this is a common problem in the community, because if somebody is seeing somebody disabled, he's feeling sorry and said, okay, well, I need to help, or even when it's then a little bit more strict, they are stepping out. For me, a normal, let's say, Olympic fencing coach has the target to get some results with the people coming around in international or national competitions, having some medals, whatever. And if they have that, so they are so focused on able-bodied fencing, not to think in any thoughts to have some wheelchair, because they said, well, okay, then I need to have a physiotherapist there, and I need to have this one and that one. The material is different, and they are avoiding this step. On the other hand, because now I'm also representative of the veterans here in Austria. The veterans is one community where I think it's a big challenge for them first to be involved in wheelchair fencing, not because they want to sit for themselves in a wheelchair, but they can have another role in their club. So they can have some target being recognized as experienced deliverer, let's say, in the club, and can work with disabled. and in that way, I think can be a good possibility for every veteran fencer in their club doing some steps with wheelchair, because then they can have yeah, let's say more opportunities, and they are more patient and more calm and so on. So this is my target for Austria, and let's see. I think one of these biggest things which everybody is avoiding doing wheelchair is the material, and as Alberto said already, the material is really hard stuff, and we were starting here with normal pallets, so we do some pallets and fix their defenses, because we didn't have this material, and then we got good support from Hungary, and this was also amazing. Need to mention here in Austria, everybody is safe, everybody has everything, so the people are not really motivated, because they said, why I need to do sport, I have all my things for free, everything is insured, everything is done. So and it's also in some other countries in Europe, so the effort having there some people getting some results, or some, how could I say, some advantages is really less. So in other countries, let's say, where, for instance, in Russia, or in I don't know, in Ukraine, in Georgia, or whatever, people get some advantages when they have results as a sport. In Austria, they are lazy. Okay, well, this is a different story.
Same situation in Costa Rica. Everybody do it just for passion.
Yeah.
But there's one subject that you touched there, and it just came to my mind. Some weeks ago, there was this again, like this coaching seminar, we can say like that, put together by Mexico Federation and one university there, and it was Carol Anzolin. She was giving the seminar, and one of the comments, and it was made by Rocky, who were there, it's about the fact that everybody, there was this question from Puerto Rico. And everybody's like sitting there waiting, just like to everything fall into place to start to work, and that's not the reality. But concerning the frames or the equipment, I remember that I saw the photos from you when you started just with a pallet holding the wheelchair.
It works. It works very well.
Yeah. And Rocky made the comment. That's the thing. To start, you don't need any of that. Okay, eventually, hopefully, your athletes are going to advance, and you want to have a frame already, but if it's equipment, your biggest concern, that shouldn't be, I believe.
But coaches, when coaches or clubs seeing that, and when they are seeing first, if they know what is wheelchair fencing, some of my colleagues here in Austria of the clubs do not know what is wheelchair fencing. They saw it somewhere, and then they said, "Oh, this is too difficult." And then they are seeing this equipment and have no idea how to start. So, okay, well.
Before we had the frames in here, there was the athletes with their own wheelchair. We had a spare one that someone donated to us, and we had the able-bodied fencers holding the chairs behind.
Yeah,
and then we could fence.
Yeah.
So, and now you mentioned the IWAS frame, and the Australian Fencing Federation, after, let's say, all the passion that I create, now they create a group, which I'm heading the group to get connected to all the states, and now all the states here are developing the wheelchair fencing, and there's one state in Queensland, they're going to produce those frames. So the Australian Fencing Federation got the grants, so they're going to make those frames locally and distribute among all the state associations. So every state association now is getting involved with wheelchair fencing.
Yeah.
So soon I hope we have the nationals in here pretty good.
I was trying to, but I couldn't contact him in the end with Kurt from Jamaica. He has already 2 or 3 athletes there. And I remember seeing the photos of the frame that he built. And at first you see the photos and you say, oh, what is that? Where did he get those things? But it works. It works, and it works very good. And it was built by himself. And yeah, I think equipment shouldn't be shouldn't be a problem. Well, in this case, Peter and Tuko, you both have athletes, you both have clubs. What are your goals? What are your dreams with your athletes? Tuko, you already have one athlete that already competed in a World Cup, but of course this is a process. It's not going to be immediately. But what are your expectations with them?
Well, I'm starting a new club now, beginning of October. And this new club, I'm already contact Paralympic Australia, and we will continue the program. There is everything accessible to the wheelchair. We have lifts, we have toilets, and I want to continue to work with Tom. He has Paralympic goals. He dreams to be a Paralympic athlete, so that's a good thing, because it's up to him, it's not up to me. As a coach, I want everyone to be in the Paralympics and become a good athlete, but it's up to them. They make the decision. But Tom is very keen, and my goal is to develop, have more kids involved, get the clubs, get the Paralympics supporting us, and continue to participate in the World Cups and everything. Like we start, now we can stop.
For you, Peter?
Well, for me, well, okay. For me, it's very important to being loud as a sport, being loud as a community for disabled, being loud to be recognized in the medias, and being loud really in our region here. And of course, then there is the sports results. I like to classify at least one fencer. Let's say if the second fencer, so the one is quite talented. And I like to come down to competitions, first regional and then of course then international competitions. Well, this is a far way. Of course, everybody's dreaming then of Paris 2024. I'm a little bit doubting if Tokyo will happen. There are some issues which I'm not really sure if this Tokyo 2021 will happen. Okay, well, different story.
Let's hope.
But I like really to be recognized first in our region, then of course in Austria. I'm fighting a lot, and thank God I have now some tools where I can do that. And well, I like, because we had in the past one wheelchair fence in Austria, and now we have 5 times more. Okay, well, since the last Paralympics in London, okay, this is different, but that means if somebody is behind and doing a lot of work and is passionate, as you mentioned, and if somebody is really behind and is pushing the things, then it can work. But this is related on persons, not otherwise. It's not done automatically. So therefore, well, I think for development, I don't know if you're referring on that, development in each country is necessary, of course, to support them with some experience, of course, to support them with some project. Everybody of you knows probably our First Step project, First Step tournament project, and so on. And for this program, it's necessary, of course, to have persons. And if you have persons, then it's starting with some, I don't know, exhibitions, with some advertisement, with catching people on the street, as we also said already, with some courses, with some, I don't know, seminars, or with some introductions in physiotherapist stations or physiotherapist unions, or whatever. So and if people are seeing that, I also experienced that if people are seeing that, they are getting really touched. So, and then the point is not being lazy, get that contacts, catch them, involve them in the club. Even it doesn't matter if they are walking or if they are disabled or not. in general, I need to mention in our club, nobody is not sitting in a wheelchair. Everybody who is coming there, I'm also doing some classes with able-bodied fencers. Everybody needs to sit in a wheelchair. This is mandatory. So there's no way out. So, well, and this is it. I think when the people when there is a possibility to catch people and being really motivated and had their goal to reach some targets, then it's good then the development can run. But every time you need to have one person who is pushing the things. Yeah. But this is nothing new for you.
Rocky, tell me what advice could you give because probably there are a lot of people. Personally, I receive a lot of emails and a lot of messages from people in Peru, people in Ecuador, that want to start wheelchair fencing, but sometimes I feel that maybe their way of thinking is maybe not the correct one to start, because they usually start like, how do I get the membership with IWAS? How do I do the federation? And first start doing the athletes maybe first. Yeah. But I mean, again, from your experience especially in the Americas region, what advice could you give to persons who are really interested, or to countries who are really interested to developing wheelchair fencing?
Well, thank you. The first advice is believe that you can do it. You don't have to be a coach. I'm not a trained coach. I'm a fencer. If you love fencing, then you can teach wheelchair fencing. Second, go where there are athletes. You know, what I did in San Diego and what worked in Colombia, we brought fencing into the rehabilitation centers. We made it easy for the athletes to try fencing and to train it. If you put barriers in front of someone who's disabled, you're not going to get their cooperation. You have to reduce the number of barriers between your athletes and the sport. And it requires a lot of commitment. It requires a lot of energy to haul all the equipment into the hospital every week or however you can go. But if you continue to show up and you continue to teach the population the benefits in rehabilitation and sport for wheelchair fencing, you'll gain athletes. And it requires patience. This is not something that's going to happen overnight. If you decide to do it, it's a commitment. You need to hang in for the long run. And you'll gain athletes and you'll lose athletes, but eventually you'll get people that'll stay. That's been my experience.
Oh. Yeah, I think we had one coaches seminar in Costa Rica. We have the joy to have Pascal Godet from France, very good coach. He helped us there. He was someday there, and I remember in the very end of the seminar, we have several coaches from Costa Rica, several fencers also, not only coaches, but one of the coaches, good one, he came to me and said, "Hey, Alberto, thank you very much for this. The seminar was amazing. I learned a lot. I hope that this project works out in Costa Rica. You have my full support to promote this, but as coaching, don't count with me." What? Yeah, too much hard work. Okay, I was a little bit surprised, but I understand that thing. I believe that you shouldn't be afraid of doing it. Anybody can do it, but definitely you need patience. You are not going to get results as quick as with able-bodied fencing, but that's the reality. But it's possible. It's possible. I think the experience of all of us here show that is possible. And well,
and then the other thing that I've noticed, I've been doing this now 9 years, and the Americas region has grown dramatically in the last 9 years because there is so much cooperation. I'm on the United States Fencing Development Committee, and United States Fencing is very, very happy that I'm talking to you in Costa Rica, or that I'm going into Mexico to promote the program. So that's something that's really positive when the federations and the regions work together, all recognizing that when we grow the entire region, and the level for everyone goes up. So that's, you know, lean on your neighbors, talk to your friends, get advice, get plans for platforms, and have fun. And if you don't make it fun, then you'll lose the disabled athletes as well. Disabled athletes have a hard enough life. And if you can't keep it fun for them, then they're not going to stay with it.
Yeah, every time I say that you need to transport the virus, you need to transport the virus to giving them some. Yeah, that's the point. When you do not have the possibility or the patient to implement the virus, putting on the stinky mask and hitting somebody in front of you, so will not get it. So this is okay, but this is a general thing of pensing. Well. And you know, for me, my whole time I was athlete, and then I was changing being referee. I was a long-time referee, and I realized for myself this referee business was just somehow being involved in this fencing family. And then I really got the opportunity being coach, and every time I wanted to be in coach. So and for me, it's also not so old. I'm not so fresh in coaching, but I think I'm doing quite well, and I have the passion to transport virus and inject this thing in people. Okay, well, so everybody can do it, and Rocky says it's really absolute out of my heart. If you really be patient, if you like to do it, then you're doing it. So if you're not liking to do it, leave it. That's it.
And you know something, well, I love fencing. I'm involved into able-bodied fencing, of course. I work with the Olympics. I work with the Paralympics. But honestly, I really enjoy all the community and all the environment of the parasport. Is amazing, and this is a really nice community. When you get involved into this, you start seeing what the athletes and referees, and it's quite different from able-bodied fencing. The way it feels during the events, the competitions. Tuko, from your part, what are your next projects? Some advice?
As you mentioned, the work at the Olympics and the Paralympics, you have the egocentrics at the Olympics, and you have this Paralympic family. You offer some help to some athletes. They say, no, I'm fine. And the Olympics, they won everything in a silver plate. So it's a big difference in terms of community. But I love both communities, I can say that. But in terms of project, we continue to develop here with the support of the Australian Fencing Federation and the Paralympics Australia. I think the future is bright. Paralympics, it's keen to help us. They have a specific person designed to look after wheelchair fencing inside the Paralympic Committee. Even with all the bureaucracy that you have, because you have disabled sports which control the wheelchair sports in here, and then they connect to the Paralympics, but Paralympics is pretty keen to help as well. So it's just some hurdles we need to jump in bureaucracy. I love to see Rocky here. He's been helping everyone. So Rocky, feel free to come to Australia. You're more than welcome. Peter already know.
Okay.
He's already invited him
So
and Mirani.
if you're allowed to travel, everything is possible. So
We're not allowed to travel in here. That's the situation right now. Australia is completely locked down. If you get an exemption, if you have to travel, even interstate, I cannot travel. And those who arrive, you have to be in a 14-day quarantine hotel, pay by yourself, all expenses on you. So they try to avoid anyone to come here in any means. But it's getting tough. The financial crisis, it's increased. It's the first year Australia going to have a recession since 58, I think. So we have tough times ahead. So hope for the better. And hope it don't affect us or any funds or anything. Let's pray for everyone to be safe. I don't know how much time we have.
We can be finishing soon, but well, keep working, right? That's the idea. Just to let you know, I don't know exactly what are the ideas with IWAS with this series of videos, but maybe there will be more conversations about development. Maybe we can go specifically about each region. So talking with Peter again, and with also some other Europeans, with Rocky and people from America's region. Tuko, you are responsible for the Oceania region, so you need to start working also outside of Australia there.
New Zealand, New Caledonia, Fiji.
Exactly.
One step at a time.
One step at a time, yeah. Yeah, right now, we know that the situation in the whole world is quite difficult, but let's try to be positive and hope that everything will come back to normal, or as much normal as possible soon. With that, just to comment really quick, and I know that it's a lot of influence from Peter, but Mijatovic from Croatia is putting together a seminar. He has a really nice idea. It's going to take a whole weekend, but he didn't want to do just a coaching seminar. He want to do, he's calling it like introduction to wheelchair fencing. He's going to talk about refereeing. He's going to talk about classification, a lot of things, and it's going to be for the Southeast European region. So the countries there, I know that they are also inviting Romania. So let's hope that he managed to do it as soon as possible.
I know it also.
In the Americas region, we are putting together with Arno Schneider from Brazil. We hope to put what is that? That was Schwantes, Brazil, Venezuela.
31st.
Interesting.
Brazil, Venezuela, and Colombia. The international camp gonna happen.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Was 2 days ago.
It's a new country that just started not long ago, and they have been trying to go to the competition, but again, the virus situation didn't allow them. But we're trying to put together like some kind of coaches, classifiers school, let's say like that, in Sao Paulo. We have a lot of support from the Brazilian Paralympic Committee. That right now, the Brazilian Paralympic Committee is one of the top in the world with results in the Paralympics. They work very good. Well, the president of IPC is Brazilian right now. So if everything works out, we are hoping for the Americas region to have something there, but not only for Americas region. If we can open for inviting people from Europe, Asia, Africa, and that's the other point. We need to do a lot of work in the African region.
Let me make a short comment. Even if this it's now really difficult for this virus system or for this virus situation, everybody when is working regionally in their states, in their countries, in their cities, like I said before, being loud there and make a lot of effort, being recognized, do the work and wait until there is a medicine or there's a way to treat the virus. So until then, you have you cannot come around. So this is it. With this one we need to face, and so therefore go ahead and do it as strong as you can. And if you would then being an example for your neighbor countries or for your neighbor cities, let's say, and just for your neighborhood, then people get this virus, and so. I think this is the way nowadays.
Yeah.
Nobody knows what is in a half a year. So this is we have high risk patients. Our wheelchair fencers and all the wheelchair people are high risk patients. So therefore, it's not so easy for traveling and so on. Okay, but this is a different story.
Yeah.
Okay.
For part, one last thing, and it's exactly what you said now. For me, it's very important. I've been talking a lot with Jenny from Colombia about this. I know that Tuko make it, but I love what you and Mirani do, Peter. I believe that also it's very important to take advantage of social media and make noise of what you are doing. I've been talking with Colombia about this, and you have fencers, you already have national championship. Post photos, share it, and in that way also be an inspiration for all the countries about this.
If you're doing at home in your silent four walls, nobody will realize. So you really need to be recognized, need to make advertisement, and being every single week you need to post something in the social media, because this is despite this virus, this is the point to communicate. And even now, you know, this Zoom meetings wouldn't happen, I don't know, half a year before. Because this is the thing for the virus. This is one of the advantages of the virus. Okay, well, don't think that that's an advantage for the virus. Okay, well. Thank God, and I'd like to mention in this way, thank God, Alberto, that you took the opportunity, or you manage the things now. And I think this is really a good tool to communicate all over the world, and being there in touch with the people who likes to do that. This is really important. Thank you very much.
Well, I wanted to thank all of you for taking the time for this, and I know that different schedule is also not not easy. And then again, this might not be the last time, so
Okay.
and also expect people maybe to reach for you also for sharing experience and everything in the future. But thank you very much, all of you, and hope to see you again soon. Hopefully.
Goodbye, my friends.
That would be great.
Yeah. Well, okay.
My pleasure.
Take care. Be healthy. See you. I hope so.
Okay.
Ciao, ciao.
Thank you.
Ciao, guys. Bye.
Bye.
Ciao.